केदारनाथ की आपने कल डाला था, आपने पोस्ट डाला 3 साल
3 साल मुझे मतलब
जी
अजीब लगता है सोच के कि 3 साल हो गए. I think part of that is also because really just special to me. And Sushant actually said this to me in Kedarnath. He was like, देख, सारा तो ये कर नहीं रही, मुक्कू ये कर रही है. So it can be anything. Just be convinced and do it. And that's the same thing that Anandji told me. Interestingly, exactly those words. My darshako really helped me. Jab shak ho, go to darshako. I'm so good, sir. Thanks.
No, you are.
Namaste, this is Sara Ali Khan and you are watching Bollywood Hungama.
Now, this is the second film on OTT, and you've already expressed your thoughts on maybe you would have wanted, like you're a theatre person and all those things. But I think now we are living in a new world.
Yes, we are.
And a lot of people, they're coming up with some really fine content on OTT in
Right.
terms of shows and other things as well.
Fully.
Is that space up your alley? Does that excite you? Would you want to do like a web show at some stage?
So honestly, for me,
Language.
the language that I do films in, or the medium in which the films are seen and shown, has always been secondary to me. I don't think that that's what it's about. I want to be part of good stories. You know, I want to be able to. I think content is king, and if there's a story that I think I would want to hear, or that I would want you to hear, it would be a privilege to be able to essay a role like that or be part of a film like that. And that's my only desire. I've said before and I'll say again that I'm strictly a director's actor. I understand that films are a medium of the filmmaker, hence the name filmmaker, right? And if I get the opportunity to just work with directors that would teach me and guide me and help me tell stories that I think should be told, that's the only dream and desire.
That's amazing. All right. Now, interestingly, since your first film, एक चीज बहुत ही clearly सामने आई है कि that you're one of those actors जो कि you can cross all limits to achieve that particular scene. आप किसी भी हद तक जा सकती हैं. कोई शिद्दत जो है वो आपके performances में नजर आती है.
Thank you, sir.
केदारनाथ की आपने कल डाला था, आपने पोस्ट डाला 3 साल
3 साल मुझे मतलब
जी
अजीब लगता है सोच के कि 3 साल हो गए. I think part of that is also because, of course, Kedarnath for many reasons is always going to be really just special to me. I don't think I can explain that. I don't think I want to explain that. But I think that we've also spent like a year and a half in lockdown. I have been a working actor out of lockdown for less time than I've been a working actor in lockdown. So that's also just been, I mean, it's been weird.
No, definitely. And I think for youngsters like you, I'm sure it must be a very frustrating experience.
It has been. It really has been.
Yeah, but I think things are opening up and
I
things
hope so. I hope
things will
so.
be better
I
in
hope so.
2022.
I think the
So-
only thing good, and I'm taking the liberty of saying this, amidst all the not great stuff that 2020 saw, the one good thing that happened to me constantly were various schedules of Atrangi Re. Atrangi Re came to me at a time that I needed it most. And it was genuinely Anandji and Atrangi Re and Rinku, my character, are the three things that have kept me going in 2020.
That's amazing. So continuation of that, the question that I was asking. So जो एक शिद्दत आपके अंदर है आपके performances में, and that is something that makes you such a long lasting proposition in terms of as an actor of potential, as a star of potential. वो आपके लिए जो एक शिद्दत को लेके आना, या फिर अगर किसी भी पर्टिकुलर सीन में या किरदार में एक certain एक लिमिटलेसनेस अगर चाहिए, वो आपके लिए कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है, एंड हाउ डू यू टेंड टू अचीव दैट? बिकॉज एटलीस्ट इन द प्रोमो we can see that there are several moments that you're just pushing the limit.
Okay, so nice question. Two things, I think. One is my director. Because ultimately now, sir, Sara's not pushing the limit.
Exactly.
Rinku's pushing the limit. And it's important to understand that. And that is something that Anandji explained to me. That's also something that Gattusa and Sushant explained to me when I was shooting Kedarnath. And Sushant actually said this to me in Kedarnath. He was like, देख, सारा तो ये कर नहीं रही है, मुक्कू ये कर रही है. So it can be anything. Just be convinced and do it. And that's the same thing that Anandji told me. Interestingly, exactly those words Anandji used to me when he said that ये जो feeling है, ये सारा को तो हो ही नहीं रहा, ये तो रिंकू को हो रहा है. तो इसमें क्या लिमिट, क्या शिद्दत, क्या कुछ भी नहीं. ये बस सच्चाई है. तुझे मानना पड़ेगा कि तू रिंकू है. तुझे मानना पड़ेगा कि ये तेरी लाइफ में हुआ है. और उसमें लिमिट नो लिमिट होता क्या है? जितना सच है उतना ही सच है. और जब आप सच्चे होते हो ना, तो आप राइट और रॉन्ग नहीं होते हो एनीमोर. आपको भले ही वो मोमेंट अच्छा ना लगे एज अ व्यूअर, एज मीडिया, हु आर द पीपल दैट आई मेक दीज फिल्म्स फॉर, it then doesn't matter whether you love it or not, because at least it's honest, you know. So it's an easy way to also escape judgment, because I feel, especially as an actor that's not trained, I have no formal training in acting. The only thing that I've ever had to rely on is honesty and conviction. Therefore, if I am honest and if I am convinced, that's my only hope of reaching you. I think that's why I wrote it yesterday in my caption that you brought up. I think that's why Mukku reached you, because she was honest. And I'm hoping Rinku does too, because she is also constantly honest.
Continuation of what you're saying right now. मैं आपसे एक बात ये पूछना चाहता था. We discussed that in detail during the lockdown, during our Zoom call meeting as well. That so you are one of the rare commodities as far as Bollywood is concerned, who's highly well educated. You've got a very fine education. And बहुत से लोग डिग्रीज होती हैं, लेकिन आपके पास पर्सपेक्टिव भी है. You know, in terms of the way you understand certain situations, historically, the way things have happened is brilliant. Now, when you are approaching any character, how does that perspective that you've got from your education help you?
You know, honestly, I don't know. I think the thing about my education is that it's very, it's just innate. It's who I am. So I can't explain that. I think that the way I'm answering your question right now, or my thought process before anything, it's not different from my education. My education is who I am. And I said this before and I'll say it again. My education was never a means to achieve anything. It was just a layer that defines who I am. And because it defines who I am, everything that I do, the way I think, is affected by my education. As a history student, all I can say is that empathy is something that we learn in history. One thing that I did learn though in Columbia, I don't know if it was in a subject or just my experience in general, is you understand more if you judge less.
Wow.
So even I'm a history student, right? I've had to write essays and articles. Suppose I was studying the Cold War. You can write it from an American perspective, you can write it from a Soviet perspective, it will be so different. What does this mean? This means two things. One is that perspective is subjective. And if you are telling a story and you understand the perspective with which you're coming from, you're not wrong. I can say America started the Cold War, I can prove this. I can say the Soviets started the Cold War, I can prove this too. As an actor, what does this mean? This means you can take a scene anyway. But if you are convinced about that and you can articulate in an essay but express in acting the thought that you've chosen to take, you won't be wrong. And that's something that my education taught
That is
me.
brilliant. Okay. You know, one more thing that that I've really admired about you since the last 3 years that I've known you, and especially in the last say 1 or 2 years. You know, for any actor to be a star, it's important to tackle the pressures that come along with being a star. And I personally have noticed that you tend to do that with a smile, and you do that very bravely. How have you done it? Like, what is your?
I'll be honest.
Yeah, please.
Very early in my life, I've seen a lot. I think before Kedarnath released, we sat together.
जी.
और उसी दिन जिस तरह से आपने मुझसे बात की थी ना, मुझे लगा था यार मैं तो पहुंच गई, क्योंकि आप सब लोगों ने, एंड आई एम नॉट ट्राइंग टू पास द ब्लेम, बट आप सब लोगों ने मुझे इतना प्यार दिया केदारनाथ और सिम्बा के बाद, दैट ओवरनाइट you all took me onto a pedestal. And right after that, in the films that followed, I was taken off that pedestal. And you know what this did, sir? It taught me very, very fast. Every Friday is going to change. Every Friday is going to change the way I'm going to be interviewed. It's going to change the way I'm going to be written about. It's going to change the comments on my Instagram. And honestly, if I can be really honest with you, it's even going to change the way I'm going to be treated on a dinner table, because it has. The girl that was Band Mutti before Kedarnath, the girl that was, oh my god, new age icon after Simba, and the girl that gave Love Aajkal were all treated differently. And I learned कि यार ये तो कुछ ही मिनटों के मेहमान हैं, कुछ भी हो सकता है, कोई भरोसा नहीं है. And that's when I stopped taking the pressure. And as a person, I've generally never been one that buckles under pressure. But I think these brief years in my life have taught me that nothing is permanent. The only thing that's permanent is your desire and hopefully fire, and that rhymed. But that is the only thing that is permanent. And that is the only thing that's going to drive you in life. And I learned that.
And whenever there is pressure, there is always Namaste Darshako, and the video, the vibes and the smile.
My Darshako really helped me. Jab shak ho, go to Darshako. I'm so good, sir. Thanks.
No, you are.
Namaste, this is Sara Ali Khan and you are watching Bollywood Hungama.